Hey, everybody, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio. You are listening to Bryan Bowden and the crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, right here on Inside the Goblin Universe. Let's get this thing going.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to Inside the Goblin Universe. There's a couple of goblins going on right now, so we're trying to get in touch with one of our goblins right here. But we have a great show for you tonight. It's been a while since we've been back, and it's been all crazy. We did do a couple of shows. We're going to be doing a lot more shows and a lot more guests on the Inside the Goblin Universe. I like to call it a network, but because it is a network. But we're just not going to waste too much time here. We want to thank Paranormal Heart for stopping by. We got Joey stopping by. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna bless everybody with praise. But our guest that is on tonight is an amazing person. She's an author and teacher, and her name is Miss Aida. And she was born in Cuba. She's to a Cuban family who practices Santeria, Palo, Bruja. I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. And the practice of magic has always been a part of her life. Miss Aida is a natural-born medium and a hoodoo practitioner. In addition to having received many intonations in Santeria and Palo, she is a registered nurse and a proud U.S. Armed Forces Air Force veteran, renowned authority. She's also a renowned authority in hoodoo. She has a Master's of Science degree. She does workshops, seminars, presentations, psychic readings, and we're going to give you her website, but it's missaida.com, and she's also on Facebook. But let's bring her into the broadcast right now. Miss Aida, welcome. I ruined the name.
Brujeria.
There you go.
Brujeria. That means witchcraft.
That's
all it means.
We're going to be talking a little bit of that and a little bit of this, and hopefully our missing man will get in here, who also, by the way, is a United States Air Force veteran.
Wow.
So maybe he got picked up and recruited again. But we welcome you to this show.
Thank you
right off the bat, we're going to be talking about kind of like the magic, mysticism, and basically the history of Halloween, because we all know it. We all went trick-or-treating, but we don't know it as what it was or where it started. We always just think of everything. Hey, Jim, welcome to the show. We also want to thank Paranormal Heart for coming in here. That's Cat Ward. Yep. And we're going to go in and out. Anytime someone comes in, we're going to put them up there. But, there's a lot of spookiness around Halloween. There's a lot of horror films around Halloween. There's craziness around Halloween, but we don't know what, this is an actual real holiday. It's a couple of them. And I defer to you because my expertise is not in Halloween. It may be going trick or treating with the kids, but um, yeah, let's just start it off. I mean, like, how old is this holiday and the original holiday?
That I know of, it's over 2,000 years old.
2,000 years old. That's
Right.
pretty old.
Yes,
It's
yes.
older. That's older than me. And
By
so
a few years.
yeah, by a bunch of years. Well, yeah. Um, and it's has it always been this magical, fun type of holiday that everybody celebrates today? I mean, it's a really big industry right now. It's like $1 billion industry. People really gravitated to it. And you know what? It's a really nice way to start the year off. I always say the year starts when school starts, like September. And because that's just once September goes around, I just want to, crash. And you have some compliments there. Miss Aida does look stunning. Thank you very
Oh,
much,
Kat,
Kat.
thank you. Oh,
Yep.
jeez.
Well, she does. And but she's always stunning, and she's articulate and smart and beautiful, and she's got the whole
Oh,
package.
wow. Wow.
Look, I want to, before we get into this, I mean, I know, you have a plethora. I always wanted to use that word, plethora of books out there. And my first introduction was Hoodoo Cleansing, which was just, it blew me away in the depth that you went into the, hoodoo and how to clean and cleanse. I mean, it was just, it was amazing to see this. You went through every little nuance in there, and to the point where you said, you were like, don't do X, because if you're doing something with candles, make sure you have a clear area, because you don't want anything caught on fire. Most people just talk about candles, they wouldn't care, but you took the care to go in, like, literally step 1, step 2, step 3. And this is in every book I've read, that one, and I've also had a chance to check out the new book that's coming out, right? It's Justice Magic, am I
Hoodoo
correct?
Justice Magic.
Yes.
And
And
everybody, Bryan was one of my endorsers, and he did a phenomenal job. So if you want to see his endorsement, buy the book.
well, it's worth buying the book for actually the material in there, because there's so much to this. You hear all these different stories or rumors, and you don't know the full facts, and you really lay it out there. It's an amazing product. But and
Thank you.
that's, yeah, we're gonna have you back on for that one, or maybe I'll just keep you again once again for myself, and we'll do it on Nova Boomy. But again, so where did this holiday of Halloween really take root? Where was the main focus?
It took root that archaeologists know of about 2,000 years ago. That's as far as they could go back in their research. And Halloween, which is, and I'll explain Halloween, but the holiday, it's a holiday. And the holiday was celebrated on the full moon closest to October 31 or November 1st. I was taught October 31. So what they called it, and they still do to this day, Samhain. Now it looks like it's pronounced Samhain, but it's pronounced
Yeah,
Samhain. It's a
I
contemporary Gaelic word.
right. I was gonna give you my New Yorker, my New Yorker Sam Hand.
Yeah.
What's this Sam Hand thing? Sorry, I have to. I make fun of my own of New Yorkers all the time, but it's very interesting, the pronunciation. But you're taking Gaelic, right? We're
Right,
speaking old world, Ireland before it was Ireland type of thing.
right. Samhain is how it's pronounced, even though it looks like it says Samhain.
Well, yeah,
So it means roughly the death of summer or New Year's. During this time, back then, that was the New Year's Eve celebration. And what they would do back then was an obligatory, everybody had to participate in the festivities, and the festivities lasted for 3 days. Everybody had to participate in the festivities, attend and participate. They believed back then that if they did not attend, that the powers that be, meaning the entities, would cause people to go mad and then eventually die. So people would attend from fear.
So
I'm burning incense. Ouch! I was
Yes.
going to show you, but I'm burning incense. I thought I'd make it a little.
She's burning incense, but her dog is smoking. So it works out great.
It's a little cone incense, so it's almost out. So anyway, it was a time that bigwigs would come and throw their agendas, the politicians, the vendors. It was a political, economical, as well as a magical event. The interesting thing that I find very interesting is, to this day, we believe that the full moon power lasts for 3 days. And it's interesting that 2,000 years ago, they believed the same thing. Their festivities lasted for 3 days.
So is that the reason for the 3 days, or because the moon lasts for 3 days?
The power of the full moon.
Okay, and we're talking about the full moon. Wow,
Right.
The moon does play a huge role in everything.
Right. Now, it was believed, and this is what I believe, is that it's the full moon closest to October 31st, which would have been yesterday. So the powers of the full moon, from my personal belief, is yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Oh, so this would be New Year's then.
Right.
Well, Happy New Year, everybody. Hold on, let's pop this bottle open right now.
And today would have been New Year's Day. So they were partaking, I forgot what the past tense partook, in festivities. They believe that, and I believe, and it's still believed, that there is a veil that separates our world, which is called the mundane world, and the spiritual world.
Okay.
And as Samhain is approaching, the veil becomes very thin, very thin, very thin. And on the eve of Samhain, the veil is broken completely.
Whoa.
And we will, well, not we, but the entities are free to roam around. So we're interchanging, we're together.
Right. So may I interject? And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to get the questions in while it's fresh. So the veil is absolutely broken.
Right.
So it's. I always thought it was really, really thin. There was always still that little layer there that protects. But you're saying done.
Yeah.
Okay. That's actually very important to the whole.
Right. So that the entities are free to roam. So these are good entities and bad entities. So they believe that fairies were free to roam about good spirits, bad spirits, gods, goddesses, and anything that's in the other realm. So that is how and where Samhain originated. The traditional Samhain that we know as Halloween. However, around the world, people have always known that the veil was thinning, and they would celebrate in different ways. They wouldn't call it Samhain. They wouldn't do exactly what the Celts were doing, the Celtics, but it is celebrated in one way or another around the world. And I was saying Sunday night when I did my live event that I was shocked to see that even in Asia, it's celebrated under a different name. It's celebrated all over Europe, France, Italy. I mean, everywhere.
I'm thinking a new book from you, all about
No.
celebration.
No, great books have been written by archaeologists. Really terrific books. You don't need my input on that.
Well, archaeologists aren't, they may not go really deep into this whole metaphysical side of it as much as they're very clinical. They're like archaeologists. Most scientists are very clinical. They're like accountants. 1 + 1 is 2. That is it. And you're getting a request from Kat. Yes, new book, please. It's coming. It's coming, Kat. And it's a fantastic book. You're gonna love that. Because who couldn't want more justice in their life? And I mean, again, I don't want to interrupt, but it's just like it's great that they discover these things, but I think a different perspective of bringing out the nuances and the cultures, and that would be a fascinating book to go along with your collection.
Thank you.
Continue for me, please. I apologize.
A lot of witches have written about Halloween or Samhain. So, moving fast forward, and you would ask me how we got Halloween. You didn't ask me how we got Samhain. So, moving fast forward, the Christian church comes along, right? The Catholic Church. And we all know how they forced people into converting, murder, threats, torture, etc. And they came along and they wanted to, and this is right around when the Catholic Church started, and they were forcing people to convert to Catholicism, which is embarrassing because I was baptized Catholic. So the Catholic Church, and this was whatever you call it, the first century, right after Christ. So they said that they would, because Samhain was so important to the pagans, that they would make a compromise and they would create a holiday called All Hallows Eve. And that literally means All Holy Eve. And they were celebrating the deceased saints. That to me is not a compromise. Then around 300 or 400 AD, I know they don't call it AD anymore, they call it BCE. There was a very prominent priest who was later sainted, Saint Augustine. I think his real name was Augustine of Hippo. And he was revered and respected. And he says, no. Only saints alone ought not be revered, but all the dead. Right? So then All Hallows Eve, right? And the day after, when they made it what? All Saints Day, All Souls Day. Because now they're saying, well, you can pray for anybody who's dead. And that's what happened. So now you find the Day of the Dead celebrations around the world. Well, I know it was prevalent in Latin America, especially Mexico. And that's how that developed. So All Souls Day is the Christian version of Samhain.
It's the cleaned up version of, or the modern version of.
Right.
So
But
yeah, no,
the term Halloween comes from All Hallows Eve.
well, it's very interesting because I know people that are Wiccans, and I know someone who is a Druid actually. Well, they claim to be a Druid. I don't know how much of a Druid they are, but they come from Wales, and so that a lot of Druids did come from Wales, but they don't like the way modern people actually celebrate this because it's almost sacrilegious to them. And what is your feeling on that? How it's portrayed versus like people that use it as a holiday. Well, I mean, I don't want to get you in a spot, but can you understand their perspective?
The Druids' perspective,
Well, yeah, the Druids or the witch. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it. Wiccans, pagans. I guess they're all in a specific or a certain class, and they consider this a major. This is like a major holiday. This is the
right? For I do know that for the pagans at Samhain, they have 8 holidays, and a lot of you have heard about the Wheel of the Year. So they have the Wheel of the Year, and they celebrate 8 holidays, and Samhain is the most sacred. But I can't speak for the Druids. I
yeah.
can tell you, I wanted to go backwards a little bit, if
Okay.
you don't mind,
No, not at all.
and tell you how the costumes developed
Oh,
and
that'd be
the trick or treat,
fantastic.
and I'm not sure if this is what the Druids are referring to. I really don't know.
Well-
I'm not a Druid, but
Right.
going back again, we're going back 2,000 years. I'm taking you way back again, right? Yeah, time machine. So we were talking
That
about
would be great.
the ancient Celts, right?
Yep.
So remember I told you that all entities were free to roam, and people would put out food. They would put food out for their deceased loved ones, and they would have a little light to guide them. And I still practice that. I still put food out for my loved ones, and I use an oil lamp, because candles, a little bit of wind, it'll put it out outside. And then they would have huge bonfires.
Right.
And the bonfires had a twofold purpose. One was to scare away the negative entities. And they also believed that it was to, bring back the daylight. They were afraid that the daylight would disappear forever. And what the priest would do is they would wear masks to cover their faces and fool the negative entities. So everybody got wind of that. That's one of my dogs. Everybody got wind of that. And they start masking also and dressing in costumes that would appear somewhat hideous, if you will, to fool and trick the negative entities into thinking they were one of them. So there's another thought that it's to scare them, to scare the negative entities. I'm not sure about that, but I do know that one reason was to trick them. So that's how the masking and the costumes were developed, right?
Right. So
And then go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but so the masking and the costumes technically are replacing some portion of that veil to protect them, right? That's what the veil's for. It protects the I guess the living.
No. It's to protect. No, the veil is gone, right? So the negative entities are free to roam. So
Exactly.
they're afraid of the negative entities. So they're putting masks and costumes on to trick those entities into believing they're one of them.
Oh, okay. I thought it was also like making a veil out of it. In other words, a substitute. Okay, not a problem.
No, it's just to trick them. So that's what happened. And then later on, guising was developed. And guising is back then, now I'm moving fast forward a little bit. So people would go to other people's homes and ask for food or toys for the dead. And that's how we get the term trick or treat, because the people who were donating food or donating toys believed that if they gave a gift to the dead, that A, they would have a prosperous new year, and B, they would be free from any malicious curses. So the term trick means curse or hex or jinx.
Okay, we got it.
Trick or treat. And the act of trick or treating is actually called guising. So that's where that developed. Okay, so I'm talking about that part of the country.
Right.
So then we didn't do things like that here at all. And in the 1840s, but they did in Ireland and all those Gaelic countries. And there was a great potato famine in Ireland around the 1840s. And the Irish came to the Americas because they were starving. They came here, they migrated here, for opportunities and to eat. And they are the ones who brought the custom of guising to the Americas, to the United States, to Canada, right?
Right.
And now I'm not going to speak for Canada so much as I am for the USA, but I was watching American Horror Story because I love it. And they had a series called Death Valley. And it was about Dwight Eisenhower and Mamie Eisenhower and the UFOs, but there was a lot of truth to this. And Mamie, I looked this up and it was true. Mamie Eisenhower in the 1900s, in the 1950s, she was the one that introduced Halloween to the adults, because prior to that, it was only for children. Now we get to your question. So once the adults get a hold of this, right?
Oh yeah.
What have they done? And that's most likely what the Druids are complaining about.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Someone I know who is a Wiccan, he said to me that, what you do on one of our most sacred holidays, it would be the equivalent of me doing something really stupid in a church on Easter. And I said, well, is it really that serious? And he goes, well, yeah, for some of us, it is that serious. It's a major holiday. And, it's not about going out and buying, costume and, getting candy. There's a lot more to it. And he never went into it. I was just like, well, it's not our intentions are not there to be disrespectful to this, to the holiday or you. It's been picked up and I was going to say Americanized.
But people don't know why they're celebrating Halloween.
I know that's
no idea. So
right, and that's what's wonderful about this conversation right now. We're trying to figure out why the heck do we start celebrating Halloween? And apparently it was Mimi Eisenhower. I think she's the one, well, it's very interesting. I've seen some of these older photos, right? You see like the 1940s or 30s and 40s. Some of the costumes could scare the hell out of you of some of these kids trick-or-treating. But then you start seeing the adults doing it, I guess, roughly around the 50s, right? Or is it
Right. When Dwight was president. So yeah, I mean, he was president when I was born, so it's got to be the 1950s.
Right. I
Yes.
mean, it's just amazing it's amazing the progress. It goes 2000 plus years ago. There's this thing going on, major celebration, an offering, the whole thing. And then fast forward 2000 years and people are dressing up like, Bill Clinton or some other person going to someone's door and having a great party. I mean, it's really become um, an amazing night. And yeah, Kat was commenting that some of these pictures were really creepy as hell. They were like really scary. I don't think they even had any type of ingenuity there. It was just unbelievably unsettling. But this is great. So this is how
Yeah, so I
it
can understand why the Wiccans would be upset, why the Druids would be upset, because nobody really understands the true meaning of Samhain,
right.
and they're just going out and doing terrible things, and
Well,
I mean, poisoning children, and it's just gone to a different level.
and that's it's really scary. I didn't grow up in an area that had a lot of houses. We grew up in an apartment building. I live in a city, so there was a lot more apartment. And initially, you would go out with your parents, and then you got to a certain point where they'll say, "Okay, go by yourselves." But there was always this: "Don't eat an apple. Don't eat that apple. There could be razor blades in it." And as a kid, you just can't fathom the idea or concept of why would someone put a razor blade in an apple, or
Right,
why would.
right.
But there are some sick SOBs out there that are they live for things like this. The new thing now is, and it's been on the news recently, apparently there's people are giving out really high potent gummies that are marijuana gummies.
Oh,
And look, as an adult or just before adult, I've definitely partook in a lot of marijuana, but some of the stuff they have today, it is so powerful that just think a little kid getting their hands on that, they're going to be in the hospital.
right.
And I don't find it funny or whatsoever. Just so check that candy if you have children. Um, Yep, and Kat said it. My parents, they went through the candy too, and they're like, "No, this is good. This is bad." Um, but it's very interesting. I think we should, go back 2,000 years this year and do the Samhain ceremony and start bonfires again and start giving offerings to get rid of all the, you know, junk that's been taking place in our world the last 2 years. So I don't know who's with me on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Who's with me on that one? Yeah.
So
But
I have food out. I have food out outside. I have bread, and I have whatever I've cooked. I put a little cup of coffee, a lit cigarette in case somebody wants that, and an oil lamp, and then I close my door wall. A lot of people will set a place setting at their table for their deceased loved ones, or if they have deceased children, they'll have toys there for them. But I'm not that confident because I don't know what's out there.
right,
I do feel different at this time. I do feel it's funny. I get a little bit hesitant about going outside. Like I leave my door wall open
right.
all year long because my dogs like to go in and out and in and out. But during this time, the door wall's closed. If they have to go to the bathroom, I just open up, let them out, and then let them back in. I'm still a little hesitant because I don't know what may try to enter my home, although it's close to impossible because I have a lot of protection up. But um,
I'm
the
sure.
other thing too, if anybody is afraid of any type of malicious entities, you can always spray your area with holy water or with Florida water. or even if you can, you could put some ammonia in a spray bottle and spray around. Just don't get anything on your furniture. Don't get any Florida water or ammonia on your furniture, because
Right.
leather and wood, it's toxic to that. But you can always do that just to keep, if you want to keep things away. I put something up on my Facebook page that I actually shared from someone else's post, and
Okay.
a lot of us have noticed, we get a lot of strange dreams during this time as the veil's thinning. And I do find myself dreaming a lot about people who have died or my animals that have died. And we get a little bit, I don't know, kind of in a daisy mood. And we're just feeling, especially for empaths, we're feeling the veil thinning.
Yeah, we were my partner in crime, Al Santariga, when we do investigations separate to this, we were talking about this recently. We were just at thanks to you, we were on the Mystic Moon Cafe the other night, and but we've known about this before. Our psychic is in where is she? She is in Arkansas, and he contacted her about something, and she said that this year the veil is exceptionally thin. It's really, really thin this year. That's what she was saying. Now, I don't do what she does, but she goes, but after this Halloween, come November, she said things are going to start looking up. Like, really, like good things are going to start happening. So, as I like to say in New York, from her mouth to God's ears,
Yeah.
because I would love that to happen.
Yeah, I would too. I don't know about the veil being exceptionally thin because the veil is broken. So I that part I don't understand, but I hope she's right about things are going to change, because boy, all of us, the entire world has had a rough 2 years.
Oh my God, yeah. Amen to that. I can, that's crazy. And I was going to suggest that if you really want to know how to protect yourself, you can go out and get Hoodoo Cleansing and Protection Magic. It's available at Barnes and Nobles and also on Amazon.com.
I should
Sorry.
hire you as my agent or salesperson.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm just going to put up Kat's post. Kat's been really, really. There's a bunch of people there, but Kat's been. They're talking amongst themselves, so I'm not going to bother. But that's how everybody goes. But she did say that her dreams have been very, very weird lately.
Yeah,
and
I can't. Kat knows I can't see without my I can't read
okay,
without my glasses.
so I'm going to read it to you. She's from Paranormal
Okay.
Heart Podcast. Yes, my dreams have been very weird.
Yeah.
And the change, and she follows up with change for the good, I hope. So do I, sister. I mean, I can't handle I don't think anybody can handle any more stuff happening. We're at our own threshold, and I think when the veil breaks this time, there's going to be a lot of problems. But what's a good suggestion? What would you suggest if you're going out with kids or family during this holiday, during Halloween and this time period, to protect yourself when you're leaving your home, because of the thin veil? If you're not in your home at that point, you go, I guess, what you said, guising? That's what it was called? Guising. Yeah, I have people that try to do that with me, and then we kick them out of the house for a while. But what would you? I mean, is there a way to? Because
wear protective amulets. I mean, if you're a Christian, wear the crucifix. Wear a medal that represents something that's meaningful to you in a religious aspect.
And
if you're a pagan, wear your pentacle. Or if you're Catholic, wear your saints, wear the crucifix. If you're Jewish, wear the Star of David.
I was going to say $1 a piece, but a little. I'm going there. I went there, people. Okay. I'm allowed to. It's part of the tribe.
I always say to protect the crown of your head, right back here.
Really?
And the neck, because we believe, in my practices of Santetti and Palo, we believe that spirits can attach to you by the back of your head.
That's very,
Through the
very,
back of the
very
head.
interesting.
And then hoodoo, they say the back of the head and the neck. So, you know, always spray that area or put protection oil on that area. And, you know, spray, when I'm saying spray, spray with holy water, spray with Florida water.
Something very interesting about this. This is because this is the first time I'm ever hearing about it, because this is not one of my focuses when we do investigations, and I'm thankful that you just mentioned what you just mentioned, because I've seen people and I've seen videos that they change, they get attacked by a spirit on an investigation, and basically what you don't notice is in some of these videos they get it before and after, what they look like before they start going crazy. There's usually like this little orb that flies, and it doesn't go like into this area, but it goes into the back of the head area, or it almost like it's focused for it. And I just put these two connections together, you know, the Palo that's awesome. I mean, this is very interesting. I don't know, maybe that's another reason why certain religions wear skull caps.
Yeah. I mean, you know, look at them. What I always find interesting is that the Jewish people wear yarmulkes, and you watch the Pope and the cardinals and the bishops, and well, they have a different name for it. I don't know what it's called, but for me, that's a yarmulke. Yeah.
I mean, you know, that would be a yarmulke
back there. You know, and I remember one time I was talking to a priest, and I was telling him whatever, and he put his hand on the crown of my head, and he started saying a blessing prayer, almost like he was inserting it into me. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Very interesting. There's something called tefillin in Judaism, and it's all handmade objects, religious objects. They're two cylinders, and each one has scrolls in it from the Holy Bible, the Torah, and I believe oh God, I'm going to go to hell for this one. But there's scrolls in it, and what you do is you have to wrap it a certain way around your
It
fingers.
almost sounds like a mezuzah.
It's very similar to mezuzah. There's similar prayers in there, but then you wrap it around your forearm, and then the last step is
yeah,
you wrap it,
it
and
starts with a T. It starts with a T.
It's called tefillin.
Yeah.
Tefillin. And what that does is when you talk about the head, you know, that, what is it, the crown chakra? It is your gateway, in my opinion, to the higher powers, because your consciousness comes from right here. Your soul's great. Your soul's protected. Look at everything that goes around your body, protect your soul. But there's only a thin layer, and some people it's really thin, in the top of your head or your skull, and to connect you to, you know, the Lord. So what a perfect vehicle for some malevolent thing to come in and go, oh, I'm going to go there. So that's why, you know, you protect it. Very interesting.
Right.
There's
and
a lot of
thing too, is iron.
And I thank you for that. I thank this lady for that. She calls me up one day, goes, you got to get an iron bracelet. I'm sending you one. And I'm like, what? You know, you don't understand. I've been reading about it. You need an iron bracelet. Now needs one. And I'm like,
well, I wasn't reading about it. An exorcist told me.
Well, yeah.
Exorcist. Yeah.
And I've never really focused on that, because I stay away from the exorcisms and demons. Although I place them on TV. But I'll tell you something. It's very, very odd. I went out, and she's like, what size bracelet? I'm like, I don't know. I don't really wear bracelets anymore. You know, I have a watch on this hand. But when I did go out, I found one that was wrought iron. It was nice, great vendor on Etsy. Thanks to Miss Aida. And I picked one up, and I remember giving it to Al. Go, listen, we're not going steady after this. Just put it on. And he just said, no problem. She said, it's fine. But I found that when I went to Gettysburg. I know this is a little bit sidebar from the Halloween. I went to Gettysburg, and we went to a friend's house that owns a haunted house. That's a bed and breakfast. Beautiful place. The historic Hoover House in Waynesboro. I beg you to go. The everybody there, Pam and Steve, they're wonderful hosts. It is a gorgeous facility, building, old period. It's fantastic and it's haunted. But I purposely put that on my wrist and wore it that whole entire week because I was interacting with people that do practice exorcisms, are in the paranormal. It is a great vehicle, as you said, to get entities that really you don't want present. They love people like that. They attach to them. And the next thing you know, you're going home and you're in a mental institution 3 days later. So I did work that, but that iron bracelet was amazing.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a bracelet. I mean, if you
No.
want to, an iron cross. Now, don't get steel. I'm talking iron, iron, iron crosses, those are cheap. You can find those cheap. Iron, any type of iron jewelry. I like the bracelet. If you do get the bracelet, put it on your left wrist.
Yes. So is it only the wrist, or should you wear it? Because I did a little more research, and apparently we all know that. Okay, so this is my right hand, everybody. I know it may look different, and right is for it's good, and left it's not, because you're a lefty or a righty. And don't let anybody get crazy here. But left, you receive the negative. Right, you get the positive. Am I correct on that?
What isn't it? I don't say it that way. I say left you receive and right you give. So a lot of times people will hear voices, and if you hear it in your left ear, that's a bad sign. Okay, you're hearing something that, because left is receive. So you're putting on your. I'm talking to Kat there because she popped that up.
Yeah.
So if you're receiving from your left, the iron is stopping it, right? Or any other protective jewelry. Like right now, as I'm talking to you, I've got the anti-evil eye in silver.
Nice.
So that's always left. And I have an amethyst ring. That's for protection. That's always left. I have nothing interesting on my right hand.
Yeah. Well,
so
is that also the reason why, I guess, in the States, if you're married, you put the ring on your left?
That I don't know. I'm not familiar with that, the custom of that.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. I don't want to hold you to it. So I mean, I did catch it. Miss Aida has, besides our show, she did a fantastic talk about this. She does these talks every Sunday almost, right?
Every other Sunday.
Every other Sunday, and you can go to Miss Aida on Facebook, right?
Miss Aida Psychic.
Miss Aida Psychic, and you can take part in that. She's got a huge community there, a lot of really great fans, because she's a wonderful person. But
they're not fans; they're my friends. I don't call anybody a fan.
That's nice. That's really. I don't have friends or fans at this point. So you're welcome, Kat. I just like playing around too much. Sorry. That being said, but she does these presentations every other Sunday, and they're fantastic. They're not that long. You don't really go too long with this.
No, half hour, 35 minutes. So I usually do a half hour and then 5 or 10 minutes of questions and answers.
Yeah. Yes. And she's very accessible to individuals that want to ask her stuff and actually get a reading, which is great too. We're going to get into that, and I'm going to go back in and edit and put in links to your website, missaida.com, and to your Facebook site, Miss Aida Psychic, so they can go there and where you can get your books and all that other stuff. But she was doing something, and you mentioned something about pigs, and I want to ask you about pigs.
Because back in we're going back 2,000 years again. Okay.
Sweet.
And we're having that big mandatory, obligatory, have to attend and participate
Yep.
And they believe that pig and wild boar were magical foods. And those foods were cooked in a cauldron. Back then, they believed that cauldrons were a tool for which we could use to connect with the spiritual world. Nowadays, cauldrons have a different significance in the different spiritual practices. And again, because I'm not a Wiccan or pagan,
Right.
they're multifold. I don't know what they are, but I will tell you that in Palo, we also use cauldrons because again, it's a tool. We still believe in that old belief that it's a tool that interconnects us
No,
to the spiritual world.
we kind of touched on this before you came on the show, but do you think that these cauldrons can be used as pensieves, where while they're preparing this magical creature, they can look within the waters that are boiling in that
Scrying.
dark, right, and then they can see like future events or foretell X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, not everybody can do it. I mean, you have
Oh
to
yeah, no.
you have to know how to do it. Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was very interesting. So now I know everybody knows that pigs are magical creatures. They're like unicorns, but they like the mud
And wild boar. So if you happen to run into a wild boar, now you know.
Wild boar is great. This is Bigfoot Anon, great guy, and Bigfoot. I definitely, I gotta get in touch with you a little bit about Bigfoot stuff too. It's great. We have a whole community of people that I've been introduced to through Al, because I'm usually getting kicked off of Facebook.
Usually, you mean often?
I'm in Facebook jail often because I refuse.
All I ever see is I'm back, and then I don't say anything for a few weeks, and I see I'm back, and then I don't see anything for a few weeks.
That's what happens. But I'm back. Yeah, they everybody says the same thing. What Jesus? What did you do this time? And it was like literally all I said was hang his ass. That was the post. Hang his ass. And the next thing you know, that goes against community guidelines. But they don't even know what I was talking about. So it was like,
well, they I got 2 warnings. I had 2 separate warnings. And they showed the post for which I was being warned. I had never seen the post nor
touched it or
ever nothing. I was like, huh? And I've already received 2 warnings for something I didn't do, and that's a problem. That's a problem with me.
It could be that you're connected to me.
I gotta be honest with you, that crossed my mind.
Well, it's really funny because my other half, who's now went to bed, she got like a strike too, and I'm like, she's like, it's because of you I'm getting strikes. I'm like, I didn't do a thing. So if you get striked off a bit on Facebook, it's because of me. I actually just signed up for the new Trump one, so where he has a new social media, but we're not going to get political here, but I just can't stand these platforms just censoring people. You see, at least you, Miss Aida, can throw a curveball spell at them, saying like, "Leave me the hell alone."
Oh, I got something better for you. I've been accused twice of
guilt by association.
With Bryan.
That's me.
Can't be, don't say that because you're next. But I had a book cover I wanted to advertise.
Right.
And it was for my book, Destroying Relationships. And it's a heart that's been cut in half with a pair of scissors. I got in trouble for posting porno.
What? I don't.
It gets better. So 3 months ago, Asha, come here, Asha, my white German Shepherd, and I sometimes give magical tips, right? But I don't, Asha, I don't give them. My dogs give them.
That's
Right?
awesome.
So we get this beautiful, sweet face, right? Right there.
There he is.
Giving a magical tip. Bang! Porno. Oh, yeah.
I don't understand
Porno.
what's going on
Yes.
with you.
Yes. So it's
Magical,
happened twice.
a magical tip that becomes porno.
The picture was porno. It was a picture. It
But
was
it's
her
just
face.
it's just her face. I don't understand. What they think it was.
I don't know, but these people got some dirty minds because
You know what? This is the problem where they actually utilize a lot of third world countries to do their
I was
their
just
work.
on the news yesterday about that. Yeah.
And it's the different culture and something that they see that would be considered pornography, I guess, whatever. I just don't get it. I don't understand what the heck they're doing over there in those countries if they have a dog and it's porno. That's a little bit odd on itself.
Such a beautiful face she has.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was going to run for president and have my bull terrier and say the only bull in Washington will be this one. That was it. But that didn't work out well for me. So now he's my guardian angel. But I love the fact that we were able to, like go into this, the Day of the Dead. And let me ask you a question. Do you know about the Mexican Day of the Dead? And is it around the same time? I don't know the.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
That's a takeoff on All Souls Day. That's all that is. So they just go to elaborate measures, which I think, it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty awesome.
I loved it. I mean, everybody in my household, and I'm inundated with estrogen here. They live for the Day of the Dead. They love the skulls. That's the only way they can accept like the skulls. I have a fake skull in my house, and my daughter's like, "Can you put that away, please?" But if I painted a rose or different colors on its face, it'd be like, "Oh, that's the coolest thing ever." I mean, I guess it's all the interpretation. But I love the fact of this. I really do love this holiday and what we just discussed, the Samhain and Samhain, sorry. Samhain.
I gotta get you to say brujeria is what I gotta get you to say.
Okay, I can't.
Brujeria.
Brujeria.
There you go. That's it. Yay.
Brujeria. Thank you.
That just means witchcraft.
Yes, well, yeah.
Oh, bye, cat.
Bye, kitty
Love
cat.
You too.
Yep. Bruja. I mean, bruja is a bruja is a witch, but is it a male witch? It's just a witch.
No. A bruja is a female, and a brujo is a male.
Oh.
But people, associate the word brujeria with Mexican witchcraft, and that's not it. Brujeria just means witchcraft. You have Cuban brujeria. You have American, witchcraft. That's all it means.
So, when you where was I going with this? I was going to say that I love the fact that we connected all this information here, and it gives a total different world, a perspective of what to expect. This Halloween. I'm going to start spitting out some knowledge here at these, we're going to go to a friend's house. They're going to go in a community and go trick-or-treating. And I'm going to be like, well, originally it was a pagan holiday. You're going to be looking at me like, what's wrong with you? No, it's actually very interesting. I always love the history. And I don't know about you, but I always like finding out the why. Why do we do it this way? Why is it the third Sunday? Why is it a crooked letter? It's important because the more you learn about the diversification of individuals and the more you can respect people as human beings, and I think the better off we're going to be. I know that was a little bit too deep for everybody right now. I apologize, but it's the truth, and what I love about what you do and in the work that you do is you are so knowledgeable of not only about that cultural connection and how the multiple cultures, but all the little nuances that each one adds, that little flavor to that cauldron when they're cooking their stew. Do you make anything special on Halloween when you celebrate?
On Halloween, on October, for me, Samhain is different than Halloween. Do I do anything special on Halloween?
Yeah, or Okay. Do you do anything special in Samhain?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Is,
I tell people that, and if you read my books, I always tell people that for me, Samhain's the full moon closest to, and it is a very magical day for successful spell work. You have a greater chance of spell manifestations. It's a great time also this time as the veil's thinning and the veil's broken. It's a great time to get psychic readings because the communication is enhanced.
that is so awesome.
That's but for me, it's as far as celebrations, for me, it's not a celebration. For me, it's honoring my dead. That's what it is for me.
It's very interesting, and I really do. I understand it a lot more. People don't do that. I was just we were doing something today. We had to go with different things, and we saw some elements and individuals doing things that were just, it was just wrong. It just, it's the new in thing to do, whatever they're the way they operate in life right now. And we were commenting how things have changed dramatically. And I said, well, part of the problem we have is when you take a god or the gods out of the equation, then the only thing left is mayhem, and that's where we are right now. And so I'm going to tell everybody now to don't burn your house down, please. I don't want to get any problems. I am not taking any ownership of this, but maybe we should start up that tradition of the bonfires again. And somehow, is that what, and I don't know if that would be a good thing for you where you are, but I think we should start that tradition again. And I can't thank you enough. I don't want to kill you with time. And I definitely want to talk about the Catholic Church, but I'm just fascinated by this. I can't thank you enough for being on Inside the Goblin Universe. I apologize, but I did find out why Ron is not available tonight, folks. He has no power.
Oh, wow.
And well, that would be the case anyhow. He has a lot of daughters, but that's a totally different type of power. He has no say, but he has no power. His phone's dead, and he's got to deal with his kids. So I apologize, but we're gonna have. I wanted him on here because I wanted him to talk to you guys. Would have just been like, boom, throwing stuff back at each other. It would have been a little bit more, I'm not as versed as Ron is on a lot of the inner details and workings, but where could everybody find you if they want a reading or they want your books, or they just want to say, hey, Miss Aida, thank you for all the information?
MissAida.com. And if you want to know about my books are, the information is available on my website. Not my new one coming up yet. I've got to add that because it won't be available until November 10th.
November 10th. That's going to be good.
And that is basically for justice, righteous retribution, righteous vindication.
That's it. And let me tell you something. I'm sitting here and I'm reading it, and every day, did you finish? What chapter are you up to? And I'm like, whoa. But I'm reading it, and it's just, I'm always in awe. I'm like, everything's there. Everything you need is there.
Just so everybody knows, because Bryan endorsed it, he got the PDF.
Right, so I did, but I don't like PDFs. So what I think I need to do is I need to get set her up with a couple of marketing gigs to promote her book in the New York area, and then I'll get an autographed copy.
My pleasure. You're going to get a copy from the publisher anyway, but I'll send you an autograph.
Yeah, whatever. The publisher. These people are a dime a dozen. It's about the artist yourself right there. But this is great that the book's coming out. I thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
I'd love you to come back.
Anytime.
And it's like I've always said, when we meet people in this field and we connect, you gel with people. And if it wasn't for Al, I would have no idea who you were. You weren't on my radar at this point, but I'm so thankful because it's like having a sister that I've never had
I feel the
before.
same way
Yeah,
about you. You're my
and just
brother.
like seriously fantastic. It's amazing person. But I thank you again for coming on, and
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I thank everybody for listening. Next time I want to do it's a little bit short in notice for everybody, and I apologize about that. Next time I promise I'm going to be branding, promoting for everybody. So and for Miss Aida when she comes back. But until next time, folks, I'm going to say goodnight, Miss Aida. It's
Good
been a pleasure, and
Thank you, everybody.
we'll
Thank
see
you.
you next time inside the Goblin Universe.